Hi guys, welcome back. So today we've got another video where I'm going to be creating a Connect 4 game using Vanilla JavaScript. Just to show you what the game looks like. When we open the application, we get a prompt saying player 1, please enter your name. I'll type my name for now, okay. And then we get a player 2, enter your name, you'll be yellow, say Daniel. You can see straight up here, so we get the player 1's turn, so in this case Connor's turn. And when we select a certain column, it will fill the bottommost available row, and it will alternate. You can see now it says Daniel's turn. If we get 4 in a row, you can see, say Conor wins, and it says that up here as well, and it turns the text into the winning player's colour as well. We have a reset button down here. That clears out all the cells within the game board here, and you can see again it resets the player's turn up here. So that's basically it, guys. In this we implement horizontal win checks, vertical win checks, diagonal checks. It's all there, so let's just jump straight into it. Okay guys, so to begin, I've just created a new folder called Connect 4 on my desktop, and I've just added the following files. So we have an index.html file, a style.css file, and an app.js file up here. So if we go into our index.html file, we'll just create a new HTML5 template here. I'll change the title to Connect 4. Also in the head section, I just want to link to our style.css, and then in the body we'll just link to the app.js. So we'll do script source app.js. Great, and then I'm just going to open this with Live Server, which you can download in VS Code, which is what I'm using here. Okay, so if we go into the body again, just want to do a H1, say Connect 4. Okay, and then underneath this H1 we want to put H3 with a class of player turn. And for now we're going to leave this blank. What we're going to do later, we're going to use JavaScript to insert the current player's name in this H3 section, so it'll appear as the current player. Their name will appear in the top of the screen here. But as I said, we'll leave that blank for now. So underneath that, we're going to add a new div. We're going to give it a class of game. This is going to be the container for our Connect 4 game. We're going to add a table in here, table, and then within the table we'll put a table row. And then within the table row we're going to have 7 slots. So this Connect 4 game is going to be 6 rows and 7 columns. So we'll add a table data cell in here. We're going to give it a class of slot. And as I said, there's going to be 7 slots per row. So I'll duplicate this 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's going to be 6 rows, so I'm going to duplicate this table row section 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then underneath my game container, I'm going to create another div called reset. This is going to be our reset button for the game. Within there, I'll just put reset as well. Okay, great. So that's our main HTML done, our basic game layout. Now we're going to go and style this with some CSS. So the first thing I'll do in my CSS file is we'll set the global parameters. So margin, naught, padding, naught, and box sizing, border box. Okay, underneath that we're going to select our game container. Say position, say absolute for now. From the top, I want it 4rem from the top. From the left, we'll say 50%. Then I'm going to translate minus 50% to make it center of the screen. Next we want to do a width. So I want this game width to be around 650 pixels. Give it a height, 600 pixels. We'll give it a background of blue. I want a different shade, actually make it a bit lighter than that. That'll do. Okay, so there's our Connect 4 game container there. We'll say I want to give it a border as well. 1 pixel solid black. Give it a box shadow as well to make it look a bit neater. 5 pixels each way, and then black as well. Just make that a bit transparent as well. That will do. And then, yeah, that's basically it. Now I want to style the slots within the game container. So we'll say dot slot, and then we'll say for these I want a width of 90 pixels, height 90 pixels, background white. Oh yeah, let's put some padding on the game container as well. 1.5 rem. Okay, and then I'm going to give this a border. The slot a border 1 pixel solid black. Okay, and then I just want to make these slots circle as well. So we'll say border radius 50%. Okay, so that's starting to come together now. Also want to center that H1. So we'll say up here H1, text align, center. And then let's position that reset div button as well. So dot reset. We'll say position, make that absolute. And we'll say top, we'll say 95 VH. Say left 50%. I want to translate that as well to make it dead center. And then I'll just give this a border 1 px solid black. Just made the width a bit bigger, so I'll say width 3 rem. Make it 5 rem. And then just text align, center. We'll make a cursor pointer on here as well. Okay, great. So that's our basic layout complete. Next stage, we're going to move on to the JavaScript. Okay, guys, so I'm in my app.js file. The first thing we want to do here is just set up our query selectors. So let's do that first. So selectors. Okay, so the first thing I want to select is each individual row. So we have the 6 rows here. So to do that, I'm going to say var table row equals document.query selector. Actually, no, we'll say document.getElements by tag name. And this is tr, table row. Cool. Next thing we want to select is each of the individual slots. So we'll say var, for now I'll just say table cell equals document. We'll also do a get element by a tag name here, and this was a TD. I'm also going to create one for, we'll say table slot, because we gave all these cells a class name of slot. I want to select it that way as well. Document.query selector. That was .slot. Okay, and then next thing I want to do, remember we had the h3 where we're going to inject the current player's name. So to select that, we'll say, I'll say const for now, player turn equals document.query selector. And here we gave that a class of player turn. Okay, and then finally, I just want to select this reset button down here as well. I'm going to put that in. quotes. Okay, and then so we'll say const reset equals document dot query selector, and this was just simply reset dot reset. Right, that's our selectors done for now. Okay, so the next task before we get going on this properly is I just want to make sure that when we click on a certain slot, we get the table coordinates logged in the console. So to do that, we're going to set up a for loop here. So we'll say for now let I equals 0, and then whilst I is less than our table cell dot length I plus plus. So what this is doing is whilst I is less than the amount of cells in here, which is around 42, we want to say table cell I. So for each cell we want to add an event listener. We want to say, so the event needs to be a click, and then we'll say we'll pass a function here, so we'll add the event, an arrow function, and we'll say console.log, and here we want to add a template literal, so we use backticks. Open up, so we'll say $, curly braces. We're going to say the first coordinate we want the table row, so the row that the row of the element we've clicked in. So we'll say e.target, and then we'll say .parent element dot row index. Okay, and then after that we also want the e.target dot cell index, and that will give us the column of the cell we've clicked. So let's just see if that works. So if I open up my console, I've saved that. Open up the console here. Okay, so now if I click in this top left cell, we should get 0, 0 as the coordinate, and we do. 0, 1, 0, 2. Down here we should get 5, 0, 5, 3, 5, 6. Yeah, so that's all working. That's great. We can log the coordinates. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, guys. So now we're gonna continue with our actual game logic. So the first thing we want to do is let the players. So we're gonna have 2 players in this Connect 4 game, and we want each player to state their name once the application's open. So in order to do that, we're gonna say while not player 1, and we're going to say var player 1 equals prompt player 1, enter your name, you will be read. Okay, and then we're going to set player 1 color equals red, and we're going to do the same thing for player 2. Player 2, change these around, say 2 there, and player 2 is going to be yellow. Change the player 2 color and yellow. Okay, also, so what else do we want to do here? So I'm going to say, when we start the game as well, we want the current player to be 1 as well. So we'll say var current player equals 1. And we'll also say, we're also going to take this player turn. So you remember we selected player turn up here, which is the H3 element, which doesn't have any content at the moment. We're going to say player turn dot text content. I'm going to open up a template literal here. So I'm going to say $, curly braces, and we're going to say player 1 turn, player 1, comma s, turn. So now whatever player we input into this prompt when we start the Connect 4 game, it should be stated up here in the H3 element. So let's just test that quickly. If I save that, you can see we get our prompt here. So for now I'll just say my name, player 2, enter your name, say Dan. You can see here it says Connor's turn, so that's great, that's working. Right, now the next thing we want to do is we want to just go through all of the cells within our game, and we want to make sure that JavaScript recognises that they all have a white background, and we also want to add an event listener onto each of the cells just to trigger a colour changing function, which we're going to build later. But for now, in order to iterate through all the cells, we're going to say array.prototype.forEach.call, and within this we're going to say table cell, and then we're going to do a callback function here. So we're going to say, so for each cell within our board, we're going to say it's a cell here. So this table cell is basically all the cells within our board, and we're going to just get each individual cell, and we're going to say, do an arrow function here. We're going to say cell.add event listener, click, and this is going to trigger a function we're going to build called change color. And also within this for each method or function, we're going to say cell.style.background color equals white. Okay, and as I said, this just ensures that when we're applying more game logic in our JavaScripts, that our program knows that each of these cells' background is definitely white. So we're explicitly stating that within this method here. Right, okay, so let's just quickly save that. Check that's working. It's got reference error. Yeah, change color is not defined, so oh yeah, obviously we need to make this function as well. Right, okay, so let's begin that now. So we'll come down below that, we'll say function change color, and that's going to take in an event. Obviously we've set a event listener here, a click event, so it's going to take in that event there. Let's just bring this up a bit. Okay, now in this function, we're going to, first off, we're just going to state, we're going to create a variable called column. And what this is going to equal e.target.cell index. So basically, whenever we click on any of these cells, it's going to take in the actual column index of that row. So for example, if we clicked this cell here, it would be number 3, as that's the third index. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we also want to create a row variable. And for now, this is just going to equal an empty array, and I'll explain why we're doing this later. Okay, so the next phase of this function is going to initiate a for loop. We're going to say for I, let I equal 5, and then whilst I is greater than -1, so basically 0, we want to decrease by 1 each time. And just to explain, the reason we're starting off with 5 here is because we want our programs to check the bottom row first. So this is index 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So we're going back 1, -1 each time. Okay, so then within this for loop, we're going to also say, we're going to start an if statement. So if, I'm going to take our table row, so each of our table rows, and we're going to take the I iteration, then we're going to say .children, so we're going to go into each cell within each row, and then we're going to take the index, so we're going to say column. We're going to add column here, the column iteration. So remember, so for example, if we clicked on this cell here again, it'd be the column would be set to 4. So we're basically saying here, if we have the table row of 5, and then it would do dot children, which is a cell at index 4, basically. So it'd be checking this cell down here, down the bottom. Okay, so we're going to say if table row I dot children column dot style dot background color, if that equals white, we're basically going to say row, so our array we initiated up here, dot push. And we're going to say that table row I dot children, the column iteration, and that's it. Yeah, that's all we need. So once we push this cell to this array, what we want to do then is we want to start up a new if statement. So if the current player is equal to 1, we're going to say row 0. So the first index of this array, we're going to say dot style dot background color equals player 1 color. Okay, let's just check that. Cannot read cell index of undefined. Sorry, bear with me a second, guys. What's going on here? Let column equals, that's why, e.target. You can see now, whenever we click on a certain column, it will fill the next available slot with player 1's background color. Okay, so that's great, so that's working so far. Right, so that's that phase. The next thing we want to do is, okay, yes, we've changed the color there. We also want to next make sure, so we want it to alternate between red and yellow, so player 1 and player 2. So we're going to say here, player turn dot text content equals, and then again we're going to open up a template literal and we'll say $, curly braces, player 2 turn, player 2's turn, exclamation mark. Okay, and also we want it to return, we want to change the current player basically, so return current player equals 2. Okay, so that's that. Let's just check our player name changes. So once we let's just refresh that to make it clearer. So I'll put Conor, Dan. We have Conor's turn, and it changes to Dan's turn. Okay, great. So next thing we want to do is we want to say, so we've got our if statement here. We want to go underneath that. We'll say else. We'll say, so else if, actually no. And we'll go under here, else. We'll say row 0 dot style dot background color equals player 2 color, and we'll say player turn dot text content equals, again backticks, player 1's turn. I'll explain what's going on in a minute, so guys, bear with me a second, and then I'll say return current player equals 1. Okay, So let's just check. So Conor, Dan. Okay, yeah. So what's happening here is we're basically returning. If we're saying if the current player is 1, we're taking the first index of that array and we're turning it into player 1's color. And then once that's finished, we're saying player2.text content equals player 2 names his turn, and then return the current player equals 2. And then otherwise, if the current player is not equal to 1, it's going to equal 2. So we're then going into this else statement here, and we're just transferring it, and we're just making it player 2's color instead, and it's alternating the names. So that's basically how you get it to alternate each color. Okay, so yeah, that's that part. Next, we're going to move on just to doing the win check. Okay, guys, so now we're going to move on to the win checks. The first thing we need to do is just create a function which basically compares 4 different slots. So we want to make sure the slots are all the same colour and that they're also not white, because obviously white can't win a game. It's either got to be yellow or they've all got to be red. So in order to do that, we're going to create a function called, let's just say colour match check for now. Cool. And this is going to take in 4 different slots. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 as parameters. And what this function is going to do is just going to return a Boolean value, true or false, if 1 is equal to 2 and 1 is equal to 3 and 1 is equal to 4, and we also need to check that 1 is not equal to white. Okay, so that's it. It's a pretty simple function there. And obviously with Connect 4 you can win, well, 4 ways really. You can either win horizontally, vertically, or you can go diagonal upwards or diagonal downwards. Okay, so the first check we'll implement, we'll do the horizontal check. So we'll create another function, call this one horizontal check. And what that does, the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to create a for loop. We're going to say let I, actually no, we'll say let row, make it clearer, equal 0. We're going to say whilst the row is less than table row dot length. So remember, this table row is the amount of rows in this game, so 6. So whilst it's basically less than 6, we're going to say I++. And then within this for loop, we're going to create another for loop for the columns. We'll say let col equal 0. And in this case, we're going to say whilst the column is less than 4, col ++. Now the reason we've done it as 4 for the horizontal check is you can only win 4 ways on a horizontal line. So you have the first 4 here, the second batch of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the third batch of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or the fourth and final batch, which is the end here. Okay, so now we're going to say within this, we're going to say if, and then we'll use our colour match check function we made. And within this colour match function, we're going to say table row, and that's going to be row. And then we're going to dot children, and in there we're going to say col, and then we'll say dot style dot background color. So that's obviously the thing we're comparing against. Okay, so remember this colour match check takes in 4 different cells. So what we do here for the horizontal is we want to increase the column by 1 each time. So this will be table row, for example, if it was checking table row 0, it would check the first column, which in this case could be 0. Then we want to do the column +1, column +2, and the column +3. So that's what we need to do here. So just copy that, paste that in there. So we'll keep the row the same in this case. We'll just do col +1. And then we'll put a comma there, go down to another line to make the code more readable. So we'll do column +2 this time. And the last one is col +3. Okay. So let's just spread this out a bit. So I'm basically saying if the colour match check for these 4 cells, we're going to say return true. Okay, so that's our horizontal check function. What I'm going to do up here as well is just say we can actually, yeah, well, let's just test this works. We'll say if, and then we'll just do the horizontal check. If horizontal check, return alert winner. Okay, so now if we get a 4 in a row horizontally, we should get the winner alert pop up. And we don't. Let's see what's going on there. I is not defined. $65. Yeah, that needs to be row plus plus, not I. Sorry about that, guys. Let's try again. Oh yeah, right. Let's get 4 horizontally. So we'll say you can see there when we get our horizontal, we got the alert of winner. So that's great. That's working. Right. The next one I'm going to do is do the vertical check. So let's go underneath. Close that off. Say function vertical check. Okay, so this is going to be similar. So we're going to start again with another for loop. And we'll say for let Carl equal 0. We'll say whilst Carl is less than 7 in this case. So obviously there's 7 columns to check. We'll say Carl plus plus. And then this time we want to check the rows within this as well. So do another for loop, say let row equal 0. And then we'll say whilst row, in this case we want to do less than 3. And then we're going to say row plus plus. And again, we're doing 3 here. Obviously, you can only win 3 times vertically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why we're doing it in 3. And then we're going to do another colour match check. So we'll say if colour match check. And for this colour match check, we're going to do table row. And we're going to say row dot children. It's going to be column again, and then we'll say dot style dot background color. And then the next, so the formula for this one is we want to increment the row by 1 each time. So again, we'll say table row row plus 1 dot children col dot style dot background color again. Okay, let's come back down here. We want a +2 here for the row, and then one more +3 for the row. And then we want to say again return true. Okay, So let's also just make sure that's, so if horizontal check, we can say or vertical check, return alert winner. Okay, so now if I come in here, so now if we get a vertical win, we should get an alert as well. And we do. So that's working, brilliant. Okay, so now let's move on to the diagonal checks. This is quite, well, I found this was more challenging originally. So let's say diagonal check. Let's say diagonal check 1, because there's going to be 2 diagonal checks for this game. So again, we want to start off with another for loop. So we'll say for, in this case, we'll say let col equals 0. In this case, we're going to say whilst col is less than 4, col plus plus. And then we want to do the rows in this case as well. So say for row, that also equals 0. And here we want to say whilst row is less than 3, row plus plus. And then we're going to do another colour match check. And the formula for this, we want to first do table row, see row, and then we say dot children. We'll say col dot style dot background color. Okay, and then we want to do a comma. And in this case, what we want to do here is we want to increment both the row and the column by 1 each time. Okay, let's go to new line. So this one will be by 2 for each one. And finally by 3. Let's bring this up a bit. And again, we want to return true there. Okay, so let's add that to our little check function up here as well. I'm going to say or diagonal check 1. Okay, let's try this. Okay, there seems to be a problem here. 86 unexpected identifier. If I spelled function right, there you go. Let's try again. Okay, Conor. So now, if we get a diagonal, it should. And there you go. We have our diagonal winner there. Okay, so that's good. Now, so we've got our diagonal checks going up this way. The next thing we want to do is just make sure it works when we go downwards as well. So let's just do the next diagonal check. I'll just copy this to save time. So diagonal check 2. And the difference with this one is I'm going to start the row at 5, and whilst the row is greater than 2, you do a minus minus instead here. Okay, and then colour match check is pretty much, I'm going to start the row, we just want to go -1 this time, +1, and then it should be -2 +2, and then -3 +3, return true. Okay, So that should be the formula for the other way. So now let's just do a diagonal check too. Okay, let's test this out. So now if we go down, it should work. Sorry, bear with me a sec, guys. This isn't working for some reason. Okay, what's going on here then? So we're doing for row. I know why. Sorry guys, it's because that's the player 2 colour. We've not implemented the player 2 colour, the win yet. So let's just make sure it's red when we do that. Sorry about that. Okay, red, red. Red, and finally red. And there you go, it works now, yeah, because we need to still implement the checks for the player 2's turn, but that's working as well. Okay, and so finally, let's just do a draw check as well. So basically a draw check will make sure, we'll look out to make sure that all the rows of cells are filled up basically with a yellow or red colour. So do function draw check. And in order to do this, I'm first going to initiate an empty array. I'll just say full slot for now equals an empty array. Okay, and then we're going to do another for loop. So we'll say for let I equals 0. And then whilst I is less than table cell dot length I plus plus, and then we'll say if table cell I dot style dot background color is not equal to white. What we want to do, so basically we want to push every coloured cell into that full slot array. So we'll say full slot dot push table cell I. Okay, and then what we're going to do after that is we're going to say if full slot slat array dot length is equal to the table cell dot length. That basically means all of the available cells have been filled. We're going to return true. Okay, so that's our draw check. So now if we go up to our main color change function again, so we're going to say yeah, so in here, so we're in player 1 now, we're going to say I'll change this alert to, I want to put a template literal in here. So this is in the player 1 section. We'll say player 1, so that'll be player 1's name, wins, I also want to just say we want to change the player turn dot text content equals, we'll say the same thing as well. Do another template literal, say player 1 wins. I'll also change the color as well, so I'll say player turn dot style dot color equals, and we'll just say player 1 color. Okay. Also under this as well, I just want to do the draw check as well, so we'll say else if, and then we'll say draw check, we'll say that player turn dot text content equals game is a draw. Okay, and then we'll just say return alert draw. Okay, I'll just finish that off with an else, and we can pop that in there. Okay, that works. And then I want to do the same thing for player 2 basically. So let's just copy all this. And then we just change this to player 2. And that to be player 2 color. Player 2 wins. Again, we'll return color current player equals 1, delete that part. And I believe that should be it. Let's give it a go. One, 3, 4. It's an input. Okay, why is that happening? Okay. Now hopefully we should, so for now if we also, I just need to remember I've not, player 2 name's not changing there, so that should be player 1's turn, return player content. Okay, this should hopefully be working now. So we can see here Conor's turn, set that Daniel's turn, Conor's turn. And we get Conor wins, and that comes up there, changes colour to Conor wins as well. Okay, that's cool, so that's all working. The final thing we need to do here basically is just select our reset button to make sure change all the cells into white. So in order to do that, let's just come down here, we'll say reset dot add event listener. We'll say click, and then we're going to do a function here. We're going to say Yeah, so table slot. I'm going to say for each. So we basically selecting all the table slots. We're going to say for each, and then in here we'll say slot. Do another callback function, and we'll say slot.style.background color equals white, and then we'll say that's fine for now. We'll also do player turn dot style dot background color equals black, and then we'll say return. I'm going to do a ternary operator here, so we'll see who the current player is. So if current player equals 1, we'll say player turn dot text content equals, and then we'll do another template literal. We'll say percent player 1's turn. Otherwise, we'll say template literal player turn dot text content equals player 2's turn. Okay, now hopefully this should all be working. So say Conor, let's just do the draw check quickly to make sure it's working. Fill these up. Takes a while. And there you go, we got our draw. So that's good. Now you can see it's changed that to game as a draw up there as well. If we press reset, why has that not worked? Okay. Let's try query selector. Oh. Okay, that works. Yeah, we had to do query selector all there. Also, I don't want to change the background color to black, just the color. Actually, that should just be color. And there we go. We have our game of Connect 4. Cool. Probably want to change the background colour of that so the yellow shows better. But yeah, that's it, guys. Any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a message. I know I just went through a few things here just because it took a lot of concentration. It's hard to explain at the same time. But yeah, as I say, I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any. But yeah, cheers for watching, guys. Hope this helped, and see you for the next video.